Hi everybody, I'm Josh.
And I'm Brett.
If you're looking for a different horror podcast, one that stands out from the rest,
Well, don't look here.
absolutely not. Every week we talk about our favorite horror movies and some of our favorite aspects of those horror movies.
So that's something that interests you? Check us out.
The only thing that sets us apart is that it's us, so if you like the sound of our voices,
Check us out at the Evil Desk Podcast.
wherever it is that you find podcasts.
Hello, I'm Hannah,
And I'm Matt Hanna,
and this is Horror Hour with the Hannas.
where we talk about all your favorite scary movies.
This week, we are talking about Ready or Not. This episode is coming out the week of our wedding, so we wanted to do a wedding-themed movie.
And this is the only wedding-themed horror movie I can think of.
Yeah, so...
I'm sure there's another one.
And it's a fun one, so I was good with it, and I'm excited to be marrying you this week.
Ditto.
Anyway, hopefully our marriage won't end up the way the marriage in this movie did. Fingers crossed
Yeah.
that your family doesn't have a
didn't-
curse I'm unaware of.
Yeah, no family curses that I know of.
I think my family would be way more likely
Except
to
for,
have
like,
some weird curse.
Cancer, but you got that one too.
Yeah,
so
we both
that's
have the
their
curse of
true
cancer.
curse.
Yeah. So we're screwed.
Hell yeah.
Well, this movie, Ready or Not, came out in 2019. It was directed by Matt Bettolini-Open and Tyler Gillette, and written by Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy. Might have butchered those names, but I feel confident. I feel like
We did our best.
the delivery was good. Starring Samara Weaving as the main character, Grace.
Who we love.
Adam Brody's also in this as the only other, major name. But Samara Weaving is carrying the film.
Big
on
fan
the
of her.
back. So, we had seen this movie before.
Only
Only
once.
once.
Both of us. We watched it together.
So we didn't remember it too well. We just remembered that it was fun.
Yeah,
And
I
then it had to
remember,
do with
that I enjoyed it on my first watch. I didn't think it was anything crazy,
Mhm.
but it was good.
I remember when we first watched it, we kind of thought it wasn't what we expected from the trailer, maybe.
I'm not
something
sure.
about the vibe was
And
different.
we didn't watch this when it came out. I feel like we must have watched this peak COVID. Am I wrong?
Well, this came out in 2019.
We
I feel like
didn't
we
watch
watched it in early 2020.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe it was right
It was
before.
probably early.
So,
COVID.
the bar was lowered for all movies during that time. Everything
I still
seemed
liked
better.
it though this time around.
Yeah.
Would I say it's a work of art? No. Did I have fun and would I watch it again? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think that is a good way to put it. I'll wait till the end to get to that.
Yeah, of course. So let's just jump into our summaries of the movie. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll go first.
I always make you go first because
15
I get
seconds.
nervous and I'm never ready. All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Family makes a deal with the devil to get rich, and they do typical shitty things that rich people do, and then they start sacrificing people to keep their wealth, and then they fail their sacrifice, blow up because of it, and get what was coming to them.
Perfect. I don't know if I can do better than that.
You can talk about Grace more.
Yeah, you didn't talk about Grace at all.
Nah, she's important, but she's kind of our conduit.
Shit, I'm so fucked for this. I should have gone first. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Woman marries into family of rich people and fuck the rich, eat the rich, because these hoes have been made a deal with the devil to sacrifice people to keep their wealth. And they try and kill her to keep their wealth, and it's really rude. That's...
Good work.
it was horrible.
Damn, the fuck the rich pretty early on in this one.
Well, that's the... I mean, spoilers, but that's the theme of the movie. That is the purpose of this movie.
Yeah, it's not subtle.
We'll get... It's not at all.
It's actually almost suffers because of how unsubtle it is. Is unsubtle a word?
I think for us, yes, but I think some audiences are stupid.
Sure,
I
and sometimes you have to
think
just...
the average American probably doesn't have the same media literacy.
No, that's the reason we made this podcast.
So
Because people are dumb.
I mean, we're dumb, but in different ways, you know?
Yeah,
We're
I
pretty
like to
dumb,
I like
but
to read
not-
into subtext. The thing is, there's no subtext in this movie. The
Because
text
it's
is the
there.
subtext.
Yeah. And again, I think for idiots, it's good to have the message
Damn.
out there. But
Are
like,
you insulting our audience?
no, I'm not insulting our audience. I'm insulting.
Most
America.
most not just America. Most viewers of movies, like the general population,
Yeah, exactly.
is not. I guess analyzing films though, or letting films affect them the way it should. But that's the movies, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It means whatever you want it to mean to you, even if
Well-
you're wrong.
True. Well, I don't think either of our 15-second summaries really capture the movie that well, so I'm going to do a real summary.
Hit us with it.
As a child, Daniel Domas is confronted in his family's mansion by a wounded man who begs him for help. Instead, Daniel alerts his family. That man is then shot with a spear gun and dragged away. 30 years later, Daniel's brother Alex, the estranged son of the successful Domas family games company, is set to marry Grace, that's Samara Weaving, a former foster child. On her wedding day, she meets the Domas family. After the ceremony, it's explained to Grace that Victor Domas made a deal with a man called LaBelle to build the Domas fortune in exchange for the family observing a tradition. At midnight on their wedding day, every new member draws a game card from LaBelle's puzzle box and must play it. Grace draws hide and seek. Believing it to be a harmless game, Grace goes to hide herself as the Domases each receive a weapon. Alex manages to find Grace early in the game, who witnesses one of the family members accidentally kill a maid who she mistakes for Grace. Alex reveals that the family is cursed. If the new member draws the hide-and-seek card, the rest of the family has to find and ritually sacrifice them before dawn, or they will die instead. With the mansion locked down, Alex disables the security system to allow Grace to escape. When Alex is caught, he is then restrained. Grace runs to the stables, where a child who's a member of the family shoots her in the hand. She knocks that child out, but is startled by a goat and falls into a pit filled with the corpses of both goats and previous sacrifices of the Domas family. She escapes and makes it out of the property, but is then soon recaptured. The Domases prepare to complete the ritual sacrifice. However, they are incapacitated after Daniel poisons them with a non-lethal dose of hydrochloric acid. His wife then shoots him in the neck after he attempts to protect Grace, leaving him to bleed to death as Grace runs away. In the ongoing chaos, the mansion is set on fire, and Grace is attacked by the family mother, who then she beats to death with LaBelle's box. Alex escapes his restraints and goes to find Grace. He finds her right after she has beaten his mother to death. She pulls away from him. Realizing that she will never trust him, he then subdues her to complete the ritual. Grace breaks free from the ritual table just as the sun rises. As one family member attempts to attack her, they explode. The rest of the family explodes one by one, and when only Alex is left, he tries and fails to convince her to forgive him. Grace tells Alex she wants a divorce, and then he succumbs to the curse and explodes too. As the sole survivor of the night, Grace walks out of the burning manor just as the police arrive. Upon asking her what happened, she simply replies, "In-laws."
And that's the movie. So, Hannah, what are your thoughts?
Well, after reading that summary, I still like the movie, but damn, the end is corny as shit.
Wrong.
In-laws.
Oh, maybe that part.
I just
Them
think
blowing
the line
up
is... No,
is
I
awesome.
love them blowing up, and I think that's the perfect ending. But I think her saying in-laws is extremely corny, and I actually read... Like, I didn't do much research for this, but I read somewhere...
Don't say that. Don't let them behind the
Well,
veil.
no, I don't want, like, someone else's views to skew
Oh,
mine,
I
I guess,
understand.
so I don't, like, read too much. I sometimes review, like, the production and, like, what went into it. But I did read that Samara Weaving was nervous about that end line and thought it was corny.
She delivers it really well.
She does.
Also, like, she smokes a cigarette when she's doing it, and smoking always looks amazing on camera. Gotta stand behind that. Make your actors smoke, or not make your actors, but have your characters smoking on film. Looks good.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God.
It does.
We are not a pro-smoking
No, I'm not
podcast.
pro smoking, but I'm pro smoking
Pro-smoking
in
on
TV,
screen.
and yeah, it looks great. That's all I have to say. It always looks so good.
What percentage of characters smoke on screen compared to the percentage of people who smoke in real life?
It changes every decade.
I know, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm derailing. Cigs on screen. They look good.
You're
All
a
right.
mess. But
Tell me more.
But overall, I do think this movie is really fun. I kind of feel like it ends up getting kind of redundant.
I agree with you.
Why do you feel like it gets redundant?
It's actually not that long, but it just kind of... She does not make any headway in her escape basically the entire movie. Anytime she does, it's set back.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yes, she's putting it off so that she can win in the end, which I guess is making, like, headway and helping her. But it just kind of starts to feel, like, tedious.
Yeah.
Because she just, like, escapes and gets recaptured and then escapes and then is tied to the table and then just barely gets out of the way for the knife to hit her arm and the sun comes up. And I think it just doesn't elevate any further beyond that. Like, and so I start to just get a little sleepy watching it until the end.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem too, is I just feel like all of the escape attempts, she just gets recaptured every time. Like, nothing new or interesting is
Yes,
happening.
and it takes away the tension, because there is tension early on when she's trying to escape, but then once I don't even know if it happens that many times, but it feels like it happens a lot. And then by, like, as it goes on, I'm, like, more bored than tense, like I was near the beginning.
Yeah, I think the beginning it's a tense game of hide and seek, and then it suddenly becomes a not tense
Yeah,
game.
I think it happens once the butler captures her outside.
Yeah.
And then she, like, knocks him out and
in the
crashes
summary,
the car.
I didn't mention it's the butler that captures her, not even a member of the family, which I think is thematically
it's there for
very
a reason.
interesting.
Yes. But yeah, I do think mostly looks good. It's not doing anything crazy with its visual style. It looks a lot like Knives Out, which is kind of funny.
I think
But Knives Out looks better.
The end shot of her outside smoking in front of the house is so similar to the end shot of Anna de Armas panning to the, like, in front of the house, panning to the
I think the
family.
set looks very similar, but less inspired. And I think, like, the way it looks, like the colors and the visuals are mostly similar. And I just think, like, Knives Out does it better. Sorry. Ryan Johnson's a really talented director.
Knives Out does a lot of things better than
a lot of
every other
movies.
movie.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, I cut you off. We wanted to
movie.
say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Knives Out's a top 10 for me, but
I get it. I don't know if it is for me, but, like, I respect that.
yeah, so good. But I do think this movie is very funny, and that does bring me a lot of joy. In the very beginning, her and Alex are having a conversation about, like, getting married and, like, preparing for the day and what the day is going to entail. And Alex says, "Are you ready?" And she just goes, "Fuck no." And it cuts immediately to the title card. And that shit
Which
made
is
me
Ready or
giggle.
Not. Yeah.
I absolutely loved that.
There's some good directing decisions for sure.
I was also kind of hoping, like, this movie is rated R. There's a couple, like, 3 maybe F-bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would have been a hilarious, if this movie were PG-13 and that was its
If that
one
was its
fuck,
one, yeah.
would have been so
We're already at 5
good.
in this episode.
Yeah. That's okay.
Oh, no, I'm glad it was rated R, though, because, and we can talk about this, but I think, like, some of the, like, blood is really good looking. That's a weird way to say it, but I think, like, they did a really good job with their props.
Mm-hmm.
All around. Their costume design was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it doesn't stand out to me in any way. It's like it's serviceable. It's completely fine. You know, you need those average border. Like,
I would call it
average
above
road.
average. Like,
Fine.
I would give it a thumbs up rather
Yeah,
than
I'd
a
still-
thumbs
I'd
down.
still, like, recommend it, but it's not at the top of my list for
Yeah,
recommendations.
no. I wouldn't put it in my top 10.
I feel like we're talking the
15
movie down
movies
too
of the
early on. People are
genre.
going to click off. Thinking, bad movie. We're leaving.
Well,
It's not
I've
bad.
said,
It's
like, I enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I do too.
enjoy the humor. I think the performances are all good. I think the members of the family are so funny when they're, like, the husband of the sister is so funny. Because he has no idea what he's doing. Like, he's handed a crossbow, and it just shows him in the other room, like, on YouTube, trying to figure out how to use a crossbow.
Funny. You're right, there are some very good
so there's, like, little moments like that I think are really funny. I also just think it's so funny to be participating in this tradition of murdering a person, and none of these people know how to use a weapon or know what they're doing, and, like, one of them is off, like, doing coke, just shooting
more than coke.
maids. Yeah.
She was doing a lot of stuff. Yeah,
So-
she killed 2 maids. Maybe... No, 2.
Yeah, she
on
kills
accident.
2. And then another maid tries to...
Yeah, a lot of maids die.
Another maid tries to, like, point out where Grace is to save herself and ends up dying in that, too. So, class traitor.
So that's what makes you like this movie after I talked to Don. Is there anything else you think the movie does really particularly well?
It's the humor for me, like
Yeah.
I've said. I do also think but I think that ties into the humor. The sound, specifically the hide and seek song, I think is so funny. It brings me so much joy, and I think it's really well done. I also think the ending ties everything together really well, and I'm glad that the curse is real.
Yes, yeah, that is a big plus. I think this movie would be extremely average if it doesn't end with the entire family blowing up, which is kind of crazy to say that just like a 1 minute of the movie really like makes or breaks it, but
Why
it does.
do you feel like if it didn't end that way that it would break it?
It would just be any boring family trying to kill somebody, like cult movie, right? Like it would just be run of the mill. Not that families killing people is run of the mill, but it would almost feel just like a slasher, like I don't know, but then when that happens, it just like you add this paranormal element to it that I think just changes everything and makes it really fun.
Because I feel like you could kind of argue that if it doesn't end that way, it might lend itself to the themes even more.
Oh, you think if it didn't end that way?
If it didn't end with them exploding, it just ended with them all being like, oh, it's not real.
Oh, that might have.
Then it might actually lend itself to the class and greed theming more because these people literally been murdering for no reason then.
Yeah, but that's not fun.
But it's not fun.
Sometimes, yeah, I don't think it undermines the theming enough.
Because it's so on the nose the whole time anyway.
I don't think it undermines it enough to justify not having this like kind of ludicrous fun ending that really does differentiate it from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad saying it would be run of the mill, but it just wouldn't. It would be another horror movie that I think doesn't stand out without this ending. Which there are plenty of. There are so many movies every year that come out that don't stand out. What else are we thinking? I think I said what I liked. I think the set looks good.
Like, can you articulate?
I think what I said was it feels tedious from a plot standpoint. I think it starts to feel very tedious. Because it just doesn't go anywhere until the end. Mm-hmm. Like, it is just kind of the same thing over and over again. And I guess I wish there was something else to make me feel a little more tense, stress me out, or just, like, elevate the movie. I don't know if there's anything else I dislike. Like I said, I find it's mostly good. There's some blandness to it.
I think if it's going to be considered a horror, which it is... It's a
comedy horror.
Yeah, it's a black comedy horror film. I could use a little more horror from it, but that's
we've said that about a bunch of the movies. No, I agree. But I think that's what I'm saying too. Is like the tension leaves because it doesn't get any more tense.
Yeah.
There's a couple good scenes. There's a scene where she has a bullet hole in her hand and she puts it through a nail, and that's really gross. And that's good. I like when she's trying to get through the fence and she can barely get through and gets like cut. I think that. And then immediately a car pulls up and just doesn't help her.
Yeah.
Another rich person, clearly, because they're driving a nice car. Which she then says, fucking rich people after, which is being very on the nose. I think it's something else I don't like is I'm all about our class consciousness, eat the rich theme. But I guess I would love for it to be a little more hidden. Not hidden, but more in the subtext.
Literally,
than just, like,
if there wasn't that line, fucking rich people, I think...
It'd be better. Yeah, yes. that does kind of like deflate the theming a little bit.
Yeah. Because we don't know that guy's an asshole.
I really enjoyed the menu. I think it in some ways suffers from that problem as well, but not nearly as much.
I love The Menu.
I love The Menu
so
too, but
much.
like,
I can't wait to cover that. I think that movie.
I think it
It's
also is the subtext is on the surface, and I think it is pretty surface level commentary. I think both are very surface level commentary, to be honest.
But Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, well, that's like the saving grace of the movie. Samara Weaving.
I think the
In this
acting in this movie all around is good. Same
Yep.
with The Menu, though. I think the
Yes,
acting all
very-
around
very
in
much so.
both is great. I think you have two dynamic leads, and I think that both movies have a ton of personality, and that is a pro for both. I think
I
The Menu
agree.
has
I agree.
more, probably.
Yeah, and that's I think that makes The Menu better. It has more personality on all fronts,
Mm-hmm.
like direction, cinematography, acting, script.
Yeah.
All have more personality.
But I do think the script does have a lot of personality.
It still does, yeah. There's something else I wanted to say, and I lost it. So I don't know why I'm talking.
You just like to hear your own voice.
Yes, you're correct. No, it was important.
That
That's all right. I'll
is
come back to it if I think
one
of it.
of my Matt pet peeves is sometimes he just likes to hear himself talk.
Like, do the Michael Scott thing.
You
Sometimes
just
I-
sometimes talk and hope you find the message or the point along the way.
Yeah.
Fair.
Hannah took away my script today of what I'm supposed to see, so I don't know what we do next. Where are we going?
So next we can go into what the movie means and what its purpose is. I think we've been
We've been in it,
pretty-
so I want to, let's dive into
go
it more.
for it.
It's very much, like I said, an Eat the Rich movie. If we really look into it, I'm gonna just lay it all out. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So they make a deal with the devil, and they get they're ultra wealthy. This isn't just
Mhm.
rich. This is ultra
Mhm.
wealthy. When we say eat the rich, it's more, we're talking about 1%ers here.
Yeah.
Make a deal with the devil to do this, which requires sacrificing goats, sacrificing people, which I think is also how people get rich in real life. Maybe not in actual devil sacrifices, but they step on other people to get there. No one gets to that
Yes.
level of wealth without harming other people and most likely indirectly killing multiple
Mhm.
people. Probably more than this family did, if we think about it. Sorry if that's extreme to say, but like that, in my mind, is just like a fact when it comes to ultra wealthy. Like, you do not get there without pulling other people down, stepping on people to get there. Which, that's the point. They make a deal with the devil. That's the only way you really become ultra wealthy. And in order to keep their wealth, they need to continue sacrificing, continue pushing people down, killing people,
Mhm.
or in this situation, sacrificing people to keep that. And they all get so used to being as rich as they are that they have basically become desensitized to it. Multiple maids get killed, and they're just like, oh, it's just the maids. They're pretty unfazed. They throw them in the goat box. They're just willing to kill this guy's wife because if we don't do it, we're gonna die, or we're gonna, or subtext, lose our wealth. Is the way I see it.
Yeah.
So they say they don't care. They're going to do this because it keeps them in power. And I think that relates to the real world as well, that rich people are just going to do what they can to keep their wealth, even if it involves hurting people below them.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, the rich people in this story have done the absolute most, literally killing people, making a deal with the devil to keep their money. And they show no remorse for that. One of the characters, the wife of Daniel is showing remorse for it, and like until the end, just doing kind of like bits and pieces to kind of like let Grace have a head start or not hurt her.
Yeah.
And his wife literally says, "You knew where I came from and where I was before. I'd rather die than lose all of this."
Yep. Which brings us back to, if you listen to one of our previous episodes, which was Drag Me to Hell, which is crab in the bucket theory, as that people that are not rich or people that are in poor situations will pull down other people to get there. And that's the crab in the bucket. You get a bunch of crabs in the bucket. They're all trying to get out. They will pull each other down instead of work together to get out.
The butler is a perfect
Another
example of that
And the maid.
in this story.
Yes. And
The butler is literally trying to kill or like track her down to harm her on their behalf. But he's not a member of the family.
he's not even rich.
What
but
is he gaining?
He thinks that my take on that is that he thinks helping them is going to get him to their status
Exactly.
someday, which it won't. It just won't. That's like, we know that. He's not blood. He's not marrying in.
And like we've said, like that happens so much in real life. People vote
Bootlick.
and bootlick. Like the amount of people that like talk so highly of these 1%ers and billionaires on
Because they think, sorry, go ahead.
X.
I'm getting, I was thinking Elon specifically.
Yeah, Elon specifically was also who I was thinking of.
They really think they can be just like him someday.
And it's just like...
Meanwhile, they're just
not
annoying.
happening.
You're halfway there. You're really annoying.
Yike. Yeah, sorry you weren't born into, like, diamond.
An emerald mine.
Yeah, or emerald mine.
Exactly.
Wealth. Like,
that is,
it's just,
if anyone made a deal with the devil, you get an emerald mine? I don't know.
yeah,
You know?
so...
Sus.
Yeah, I think the butler, is a perfect representation of those little shits on X.
I need to say something. I'm getting
Go,
excited.
go.
What's funny about that, though, is he does that knowing that they just kill the maids on accident and go, whatever. That, like, could so easily happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't give it two shits. They'd just throw him in the goat pit. Like
Yeah, because we've literally
But he
watched
doesn't
that.
see it, because that's how people, like, oh, man, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Maybe talking about it like this has made me like the movie even more.
Yes.
It
Yes.
I mean,
And
I
that's
knew all
what
these
think
things.
I
but
think
even
it's
just,
very
I'm
fun.
connecting some other dots here.
That's why every time you shit talk it, I'm like, yeah, it's not an amazing movie, but it's very fun. Like,
Yes.
I enjoy it. I also think it's fun how the poor people in this story are just used as objects or are equated to being literal animals. When it comes to the dead maid, they kind of like treat her like an object. One of them, they say, she was my favorite.
And they flip the coin to decide who has to carry the head.
Yeah, like they don't give a shit that this is a person who died. Just, that's my favorite. It's like spilling like red wine on your white sweater.
Yeah.
That was my favorite sweater. Oh my god, I'm so upset. I would be more upset spilling wine on my white sweater than they are with this lady dying.
And once again, it is not hidden. I mean, it is very on the surface. That
It's also before they later say you're just another goat to her.
mm-hmm. They
Which
tell Grace
again,
that she's
she's
another
equating
goat.
her to an animal. But before they get there, they start gradually with that, where they have been putting the dead bodies in the pit with the dead goats.
Well, the goats that they're also sacrificing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, and it's like in the barn with the goats. Like you are not
they're
worth.
awful.
You
They're
are not
so-
worth more
I had another
than a
thought.
dead goat, than this thing that we use for food. Like
This
you
is-
are not worth any more than that.
This is the
to
Tear
us.
Down the 1% episode. They also try to cheat in hide and seek. Once it's threatened that it's not going to be as easy as they thought, they're like, let's turn the cameras on, because initially they didn't have the cameras on. Immediately,
'cause they say-
immediately they're going to cheat.
They say like we
Cheat to
used
win.
weapons from back in the day when the deal was made, and we like
like bow and arrow and crossbow.
and we
and,
don't use cameras because they wouldn't have used cameras. But all of a sudden they're like, "Fuck it, let's cheat, let's do it."
Well, the second they have any adversity, they're going
Mhm.
to cheat to win, which is another thing that ultra wealthy people do to stay ultra wealthy.
Mm-hmm. Something else that I thought was really fun, and we talked about this, was when the sister, the one who's on like coke the whole movie,
hmm
she says, "My kids don't deserve to die." And then we later see that, like, hear them blow up off
Yeah,
screen.
these are like children. They blow up off screen.
But
We see their blood.
yeah, and I think that is a really interesting and poignant quote, because it's like that one is not on the nose, like it's an actual question, and I think it's asking
Yeah, she
the
says
audience.
it to Daniel, right? Where she's like, "Do my children deserve to die?"
And my answer, which might be a hot take, is that these are children who've continued to benefit from this class system that holds up the rich and steps on the poor.
Not just
So
steps
how
on the
is-
poor, sacrifices the
So
poor.
how is that fair?
Yeah.
Like, I know they are children, and the thing is you can't even say they're children, they're innocent. One of them tried to shoot Grace.
Yeah.
They were involved. He literally participates in the game and shoots her. He doesn't fully understand the game, but he still actively participates in this system. So yes, he deserves
I think
it.
in the context of the movie, the children have benefited from this atrocious deal with the devil, and so yes, they do deserve what comes to them. I think in real life,
yeah, like
I
that.
do not feel that
No.
way. But within this movie, yes, I
Mhm.
fuck them kids. You know,
Well, that's what we always say, like, there's difference between how we would feel in real life versus in the context of a movie, and in the context of a movie, like you said, fuck them kids.
but I do feel in real life that children that benefit from the nasty things their parents do is not right and not morally right. But however, they typically don't know any better and don't
Yeah.
really have control over that.
Mhm.
But they're going to be taught to be just like them usually, and that sickens me a little bit.
Yeah,
but
if you stay past 16, 18, you're a bitch. But, you know, when you're 9, like these kids, like, they're literally
this is a make or break
10.
episode, so people are going to leave after this one. But sorry, we're gonna call it as we see it.
Eat rich.
I feel like maybe the problem with that phrase is rich comes across as like someone that has $1 million is
That's
not
not
rich.
rich.
We're talking like
$1
1%
billion.
ultra wealthy. Like, yeah, and that's what nobody needs that money. Nobody needs that much. That's absurd.
If you need resources on this, man, I can send you just even like a nice little TikTok that shows the difference in grains of sand between 1 million and 1 billion. And I think that is such a fun way to like put it in perspective, the difference that we're talking.
This podcast is taking a stand right here. Billionaires should not exist. And that's we're going to stand by that. You hear it in other episodes too.
Tax the rich.
More.
Much more. Do you have any more to say on that theming?
I feel like
any other
I
specific
hit
moments?
all of it. I got pretty excited to rant about that. But I think that is what's going on there. There probably is a small family theme here, considering.
I was about to say.
Oh, you want to go in?
Family.
Hit it. I don't want to cut you off.
I think it's really interesting, like right off the bat, it's talking about how she grew up in foster care, and she talks to Alex about how important it was for her to have a real permanent family. And I think that certainly contributes to like why he risks her life anyway. Because one, he's hoping she doesn't pull that card, but also he knows that marriage is important to her and family is important to her.
Do we make it clear like it's not common that this card is pulled, but there's always the risk that the hide and seek card?
Yes.
Someone got Parcheesi. I think they got chess. But
yeah, someone got chess. Someone got
Old Maid.
Old Maid, and he was like, "What the fuck is Old Maid?"
Yeah, and but they're still like, they don't give a shit. He's just going to take the risk, thinking, "Oh, it won't happen to me." But like, even though he basically saw it as a kid,
he didn't know. He was locked.
You're right.
In the
He was
closet.
locked in the closet.
He
Daniel saw it.
Did not see it.
Yeah, but he knew it was a thing. That's why he left the family. But still, once his livelihood was threatened again at the end, he decides to turn on her. Right. I guess that goes back to our rich theming. Our class conscious theming. Like it took him a while, but finally when it was like he was really threatened at the end, he completely turned on his wife.
And I guess for Alex, blood is thicker than water in this case.
Exactly. Yes.
I also, just think it's so interesting how desperate she was to have a family, but sometimes family is not so good. In the case of this.
And she wasn't even looking to get wealthy off of it.
No,
like,
she just wanted connection.
Yeah.
And clearly this family, there's a difference between various families. Some people are held together by a string, and this is definitely one of those families. Like, they're not close. They don't care about each other.
I have an important question that I didn't think about until now.
What?
Had she not pulled the hide and seek card and just pulled some other random card, do you think that she also would have just fallen right into being a part of this ultra wealthy family that's cool with sacrificing goats and people?
Well, I think her and Alex would have ran away. Like, I think his plan the
whole
time
did want
was
out.
To drag her away. Like,
you're right.
He didn't want to be a part of it.
What if they, came on hard times or something? Do you think they'd be coming back?
Maybe, but I still think he would avoid telling her at all costs.
That's a good point.
Unless they have
I forgot
to.
that. Because I wonder if they would have set it up. Because I feel like the theming tells me, yes, like, oh, she would have just dove right into it. She wanted that connection. She would do anything, not even for the money in the situation, anything for that family connection, right? Even maybe sacrificing people. But I don't know. It's just a thought. I think you're right. They probably would run away.
I also just love how it ends with her asking for a divorce.
Yeah. Right before he blows up.
Like, fuck this family and fuck being a part of it.
This ending, and maybe we can talk about it again. I mean, anything else you need on themes?
Well, I also, not necessarily themes, but I do really think this is a fun modern retelling of the short story, The Most Dangerous Game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is like one of the most famous short stories ever, which is, the haunting a person.
Did they remake that recently?
It has been remade in various forms of media 1 million times, including this one. But I think that this is a really interesting take on it because in this version of the story, like, the family's not trying that hard to even hunt her.
Totally.
They have no doubt that they're going to catch their prey eventually, because that's how it's always happened, and that's how it always works for rich people, right? Like, they just get what they want without having to put that much effort into it.
I actually never realized or thought about it as a retelling of The Most Dangerous Game, but that's a similar point, right? It's like very rich people that are hunting people like other poor people, right?
I think in the original, the guy's not even poor. I think it just might be an ultra wealthy person hunting a somewhat wealthy person.
Okay. I forgot that that's like the
But
plot
that
of
is the
though.
basic premise,
Yeah.
is rich person hunting other person.
Yeah, that's
For
I'm dumb
sure.
for not. I like watch movies like, oh yeah, it's the dangerous game, because in my head that is just like lexicon that say people hunting people is the most dangerous game, but it thematically is also very similar,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel dumb for not realizing that.
And I think what's fun in this is obviously, like, Grace recognizes their complacency and is able to, like, manipulate them in order to survive. Like we must, when we are not the ultra rich, works her fucking ass off, and she deserves to live here. And they don't deserve their win, so they don't get one, which is how we wish it
Maybe I
works.
should take back my tedious complaint. That might be the point. We can really read into it and say it's tedious because she is working her ass off to like get this win, because she has to, which is why I end up feeling bored, because it's like she has to do all this work.
Because that's how it is.
That's
when
how it
we are
is.
not the
We're convincing ourselves to like the
ultra-wealthy.
movie more.
I was pro this movie. to
I still
begin with.
liked it. I didn't say I disliked it.
Do you have
But
any
that's a great point.
hot takes on this movie before we get into ratings?
We said it. The kids deserve to die. That was yours,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, my hot take was
I don't
the
even know
kids
if that's a
deserve
hot
it.
take. Daniel deserves to die. Like, that's my other hot take. Sorry, buddy. You did the right thing, but that doesn't negate a lifetime of benefiting off of
Mhm.
killing poor people and being generally awful.
And let's be real, it's not like his contribution is that big. He doesn't directly save her. He just kind of buys her time
Yeah.
repeatedly.
Yeah, and I'm glad he did
That's-
it. Good for you. He's on his way to redemption.
Yeah.
But
I
you're
think
out
we
of
can
time.
also see it as like one of the ultra rich people or celebrities who like donates like $1,000 of their millions or
That's
billions
a good
of
way to look at it.
dollars.
Also, if you guys can hear an ice cream truck, there's one outside our apartment. Really adds to the
The
creepy
ambiance.
vibes. Wish we were covering like It today or something.
That would have been perfect. Let's switch gears now.
Which one are we watching?
Part 1?
No, I mean like the original made for TV
Oh,
one.
I haven't seen
Are we
that.
reading the book? Yeah, neither have I actually. I've read the book though. I'm going to say that eventually we're going to be able to do Horror Out the Hannah's Bingo, where it's Matt talks about reading It. Fuck the Rich is on there.
Mhm.
Matt talks about Crab in a Bucket Theory.
Hannah talks about gender.
Yeah, Hannah talks about gender.
Hannah talks about
Someone-
therapy and or grief.
That's how we'll
or
know.
mental illness.
That's how we'll know that we've made it. Is when somebody makes a bingo card for our podcast,
That would be
or
such an
amateur
honor.
hour. If we say amateur hour, that should be on there. That should just be the
True.
free space.
It should be the free space. Anyway,
Oh, the ending rocks, and them getting blown up is fantastic, and I love
bitch,
everything
where are
about
you?
it. I'm sorry.
We're talking
I don't
about
care.
hot takes.
I just wanted to say that. I meant to say it earlier.
You are peak amateur houring right
Yeah. But from the theming point, it's just awesome to see them all get blown up and actually get what they deserve, and it makes me happy, even though it might undercut the theme a little bit. That's all I had to say. What's your hot take?
now. Bro.
You said it already.
Yeah, I said kids
Yeah.
deserve to die.
We love
Daniel
hot takes.
deserves
Then.
to die. Your hot take that you mentioned the other day that you did not say now is
What
that
was it?
we should have seen the kids blow up.
Oh, I wasn't actually planning on saying that. They can't do that. You get in trouble. You can't really show violence against children. Although, what movie was I saying that actually did it? And I was like, I don't know if it was The Sixth Sense.
No.
Oh, it was Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell shows violence against kids right at the beginning.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they clearly were like, well, we can't show the kids blow up. Let's have them run into another room and blow up. Bullshit. Make the kids blow up. The movie, they lost their nerve a little bit. But I'm guessing it's because ratings
They
get
had
really,
to.
even at an R rating, you can get in trouble for having a child blow up.
It's a soft R, though. I think
It is a
would've
soft
been
R.
fine.
Well,
Has Now, the final question is, has this discussion impacted how you would rate the movie?
Probably not.
Oh, I think it
I
did
was
for
saying
me.
it.
I was already going to give it good, but now I'm going to give it better.
I'm not... A movie has to do a really good job for me to say, oh, well, it was boring in that part to me on purpose. It has to do a really good job with its theming. You know what a movie that does that is A Ghost Story, with her eating the pie for 10 minutes and then throwing it up.
Holy shit.
Like, yeah, that's boring, but like that's a very purposeful and poignant and impactful. So I'm okay with it there. In this, when it becomes tedious with the same kind of shit happening over and over again, I can't just make the excuse that, oh, well, that's because the theming says that poor people have to work more. Sorry, I'm not. I think it's fine and just as good as how I remembered it.
All right, then what are you giving it out of 10?
I think it's a 7. Solid.
Nice.
7. You gotta have solid 7s in your life. Make you appreciate the 10s more.
I think that is fair. Before this discussion, I was going to give it a 7. And now I'm feeling a nice 7.5.
There you go. You got 0.5.
This discussion reminded me that I really
Did I help?
like it.
Am I good at talking about movies?
No, I think I'm good at talking about movies. So
True.
I did it to myself. No, I mean,
You convinced
it's a
yourself.
free-flowing conversation.
Oh, I know. I think, yeah.
I think it's
fine.
solid. It's a
If it
solid
did,
movie.
and I'm going to talk about the ending again because I already did, but if it doesn't have that ending, it drops to a 5, 6.
Bitch.
No, that's extreme. It drops at least a half to a point without the ending. And I remember there being some bullshit BuzzFeed article where it was like movies with terrible endings, and this was on it, and everyone was like, "This is the thing that makes this movie like the
That's
best."
a horrible take.
Well, there's always you should read like online media about movies. It is bad.
That's my whole point about this movie and why sometimes it just has to be on the nose because people are dumb. Case in point.
Can I tell you about a dumb online article I read about bad understanding of movies?
Nope.
No.
That's all for today,
You don't want to hear
folks.
it? We barely made it to 40 minutes.
That's fine. I think this movie is a short movie. It's a shorter episode. We don't need to overstay its welcome. This movie potentially did.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's worth a watch, but like there are a lot of other things that come first.
I think
like,
if you're dipping your foot
it's
into the genre, you're not like into jumpy scary,
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
not
into
scary.
feeling icky, this is a good movie for you. My thriller friends out there, you can watch this. Casey, Preston, previous guests on the show, this is for you. You will enjoy it and you won't poop your pants.
It is very much not scary, and we need to get to some scary movies. So if anyone has recommendations for something that's going to like make me pee my pants, please let us know.
If I need a Xanax prescription beforehand, please keep me posted.
And I'm sure Hannah's going to say this in a recording we have, but like, subscribe on YouTube, give us 5 stars, all that bullshit, you know?
Well, next time we see you, we will be officially married.
And hopefully we don't blow up from a devil's curse or have one of our families tries to kill each other. But
it will
we'll
be
see.
Yours.
It will. My family's more likely to kill yours?
No, my family's more likely to kill
me.
you.
It's all right. I'm not worried about them.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know some of your aunts and uncles that well yet.
Well, if they're listening, comment. Let us know which family is more likely to kill the other family.
All right.
You ready? All right. Well, I'm Matt Hanna. We're going out of order.
I'm Hanna.
This is the Hanna Horror Hour. No, it's not. It's a horror hour with the Hannas.
Get the amateur hour.
The Hanna Amateur Hour.
All right. Stay spooky.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and follow for additional content on TikTok or Instagram at Horror Hour with the Hannas. If you like the podcast, please leave a positive review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!